When it comes to racing games and the like, Sonic the Hedgehog is one that is no stranger to that. Seeing as how Sonic Racing CrossWorlds will be releasing soon, I found it only that much more fitting to throw in my 2 cents here into the ring to see what I truly think here about this upcoming exciting entry in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Will this game in fact succeed and put the Blue Blur's racing games back on the map? Or will this game instead falter and end up stalling out completely? That's what we're going to be talking about here today then, guys. So if you like what you see from this video and everything here that I have to say about Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Also, what character from the vast history here of SEGA would you want to see make it in as a playable character here in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds? And also, just in general, what are your expectations for the game? Do you personally think it's going to succeed? Or will it perhaps not succeed here and be left in the dust with a lot of the other racing games in the Blue Blur's legacy here? This guy, though, I have a lot to say about this, but in order to really look at the future of Sonic Racing, it's always helpful to take a step back here. So we're going to be going over very, very briefly albeit abridged version of Sonic's racing history here. First up, the first entry in this list is none other than Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing, released in the early 2010s. This would mark the beginning of a very promising future here for the Blue Blur. For a lot of other SEGA franchises here, join the race for the gold here, and for that coveted #1 golden trophy at the end of the road. And not just Sonic, but Super Monkey Ball, Billy Hatcher, even Virtua Fighter here, among others, joined this game and were actually playable characters here. I found to be a very, very exciting addition. Growing up with this series really helped cement me as a fan of the Blue Blur's spin-off titles here. Now, I did also grow up with the Sonic Riders games, of course, but barring the first 2 games, we don't talk about Sonic Free Riders, just so you guys know. We have, like I said, not just Sonic, but Super Monkey Ball, Billy Hatcher, Samba de Amigo, and the like here. Even Rio from Shenmue is a playable character in this game as well, so pretty much anyone, also Space Channel 5, even House of the Dead, just to name a few here off the top of my head here. And no, that rhyme was not intentional, that was purely accidental here. But like I was saying, for what it's worth, basically any SEGA franchise here that you can think of is included here in this game. Even SEGA's original mascot that predates Sonic himself. Yeah, that's right, Alex Kidd is even in this game as a fully playable racer and everything. So this game was not shying away at all from really any type of SEGA mascot here. Also, you have BD Joe from Crazy Taxi, another fan favorite game, another one of my personal favorites as well there. You also got the Bonanza Brothers. You also have Opa Opa from Fantasy Zone. So really, there's something here for literally every type of SEGA fan to sink their teeth into and really get out of this game. Not just as a Sonic fan per se, or any of the other franchises of the like, but really something for everybody here. And that's what's awesome about this first entry here. While it's not completely, perfect, it's a little rough around the edges with some things for like the steering for the cars and whatnot, and the handling, in my opinion. But other than that, with the physics part of it aside, the graphics are, for its time, pretty darn good, I'd say. Presentation-wise at least. Which brings me now to the big thing in this game, which was introduced, the All-Star move. A powerful ability or attack that would allow your character to catch up to the other racers here and completely decimate anyone and anything in your path here on your way to first place. So these were really hard to get, I feel, when playing as certain characters. Although it is completely randomized, that doesn't change the fact that when you get this move, you better be able to use it before the race is over, or also before you just really end up losing. But this game did in fact do well enough to spawn a sequel. 2 sequels for that matter. So first up here we have Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Also, that was released in the early 2010s for a multitude of platforms, basically almost everything under the sun. Now this game really turned up the stakes here and dialed everything up to 11. As this time though, things were switched up a tad, and characters were actually given the ability to transform their cars, or karts here, if it were, into boats and airplanes, allowing the gameplay to be a little bit more innovative and not just a standard go-kart racer, and to really up the stakes here and, up the ante, as it were. Now, though, there's a lot of other Sega franchises joining in here into this mix. While some have been actually removed, such as Billy Hatcher and whatnot, others, though, have been added in their place instead. So some that are my personal favorites here, like Beat from Jet Set Radio, are still there. BD Joe from Crazy Taxi, Ooh La La from Space Channel 5 is also here. But then we have some new faces as well. So say Danica Patrick from the NASCAR Motorsports is here. We have Vice from Skies of Arcadia. Even Knights the Jester from Knights' own self-titled game here is, well, a car being piloted by a Knightopian, one of the creatures found within Knight's game. You even got Wreck-It Ralph, for crying out loud, as a guest character here to promote the Wreck-It Ralph movies, Even Football Manager, one of Sega's other franchises, then also makes an appearance. We also then have Alex Kidd returning as well, and of course Rio from Shenmue. So there's really something here, like I said, for everybody. If not from the first game, then this time around here, if you were burned by the first game and wanted to give this one a shot, this one might in fact be, well, the better pick for you then. The gameplay is also a little bit more refined, and the graphics here are a marginal difference. So take that for what it's worth, along with the tracks here, which is, in my opinion, the one thing that was lacking in this game. Barring the transformation abilities, which I find incredibly cool and interesting as a concept, these tracks leave a little bit to be desired. There are some returning tracks from the first game that did come back here, but compared to the original game, they just kind of fall flat and are just sort of there as bonuses to just kind of mess around in. So that really isn't all that important to me, but overall this game does a lot of things right, more so than doing a lot of things wrong. And yeah, you can race as Ai here from Super Monkey Ball and Mei Mei this time around in Billy Hatcher's castle here. With that aside, and that being said, this game was, though, a definitive step up for things to come, which would then later spawn another sequel that would be gracing our presence a few years later, toward the end of the 2010s then, called Team Sonic Racing. So it's no secret that, for me personally, this is my least favorite game out of the trilogy here so far. So it's no secret here that this is the least favorite game for me personally. Graphic-wise, it is the most impressive, and music-wise, it also is pretty darn good. Although this time around, it's strictly Sonic and company. Yeah, that's right. Everything else was completely stripped away here and taken back and dialed down. So while the music is still really good, and honestly my favorite soundtrack for the entirety here of these three all-star racing games, and the graphics are, again, a step up here, everything else is just a massive downgrade here. I mean, this roster is just Sonic characters. If I wanted to play an exclusively Sonic-themed racing game, I'll go play, I don't know, Sonic Riders, for example, any of those games, except for Free Riders, of course, but, that is what it is. Heck, even, I'm being a little bit nostalgic here and showing my age, but for what it's worth, I'll go play Sonic Drift, via Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. I find, that to be more enjoyable even at certain points than this game. There's just nothing really going on. This whole game is just a slog to get through. All the items in this game consist of just multiple different wisps from Sonic Colors, and that's really it. This is completely bare bones in my opinion, and this could have really been a great game. Yeah, presentation-wise it's fine, I guess, and the music is still good, because what kind of Sonic game doesn't have bad music, am I right? But all that aside, this is just not doing it for me. This is not what I expected Team Sonic Racing to be at all. I don't know what Sega was entirely trying to do with this game, but for this guy, it's just not cutting it. So, enough of that game. Let's move on, though, to a more positive angle here on this discussion. That being said, with us now being more familiar with the past Sonic Racing games here, Will this in fact shine a light here on CrossWorlds? And will this in fact be a good game? Not just a good game, but a great game as a whole. I really want this to succeed. Seeing as how we have all these guest characters coming in here, I'm getting a lot of All-Stars Racing Transform vibes from this. And I really hope that SEGA pulls out all the stops here and goes full throttle with this newest release here in the Sonic Racing franchise. This deserves to go way beyond the stars and then some. This goes, you know, this game can only really succeed as much as SEGA allows it to succeed and wants it to do well. Going back though, real quick from Team Sonic Racing to the original All-Stars Racing and All-Stars Racing Transformed, it is obviously a big jump backward and forward then, like night and day. But for their time, they're pretty darn good in this guy's opinion. But barring all that, I personally hope that Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is the best Sonic Racing game. Not ever here, but one that I can be proud to play and talk about with friends here and suggest to people who may not be familiar all that much, not even just with Sonic, but racing games as a genre, which I know is incredibly broad here with the dozens and dozens of different types of racing games even on every single platform available now, from Xbox to PlayStation to Nintendo Switch 2, Steam, even mobile phones here. There's really something for everyone. So take all this for what it's worth, but let's get a conversation going here, guys. I want to know then as well, have you played any of these older Sonic racing games before? And if not, have any of them interested you at all? Also then, if you're excited personally for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds when it comes out here soon, and let's get a good old conversation going here about just who might be able to make the cut here for this game and take home the gold. So I'd say that on that note, that would just about do it here though for everything on my end regarding this game for now. Unless more trailers shadow drop then from SEGA, then I'll definitely be looking forward to talking about this game again soon. But for now though, that'll just about do it then for me, and I'll be signing out for today. But be sure to keep it tuned though right here for all this and then some. So until we meet again next time, I'll be catching you guys all later. See you on the flip side.